please open up your Big Ideas Math textbook to page 1. Today we are going to start Chapter 1, Numerical Expressions and Factors. Before we get started with the content, I want to talk to you for a few minutes about what you can find at the beginning of each chapter in your math textbook. You'll see that this opening page lists the lessons that are included in the chapter. In this case, it's lesson 1.1 through 1.6. Most chapters have anywhere from 4 to 7 lessons depending on the content in that chapter. Now, in addition to the lesson number, it also tells you in that lesson what skill is it that we're going to be working on. So for example, lesson 1.1 is whole number operations. The reason this can be helpful is if we got to the end of the chapter and you thought, I really could use a little bit more practice on exponents. You can just take a look at the front page of the chapter and easily determine that lesson 1.2 is where you need to look back to review that particular skill. In addition to listing the lessons, the beginning of each chapter tends to have a couple of cartoons on them, or little comic strips. The two characters in our comic strips are Descartes and Newton. Des is the cat and Newton is the dog. And each of the comics directly relates to the skills that you're going to be learning in this chapter. So for example, go ahead and take a moment, read the comic strip, and you'll see we're going to be talking about numbers that are squared and cubed, which relates to our exponents unit or chapter. Okay, in addition to the front page listing the particular lessons, you're also going to see a page at the beginning of each chapter that talks about what you learned before. In this case, we're going to be talking about prime and composite numbers. Sometimes the skill that you've learned may have been earlier this year in 6th grade. Sometimes it might be referring to a skill that you learned perhaps in 4th or 5th grade. Often along with that skill, you're going to see additional cartoon comics that deal with that particular skill. So let's take a look at prime and composite numbers. First, you need to review what is a prime number, what is a composite. A prime number means that the only factors a particular number would have is 1 in itself. What that means is the only way to get that number is to multiply 1 times whatever the number is. Composite numbers are numbers that have more factors than just 1 in itself. So for example, let's think of the number 8. I can get 8 by multiplying 1 times 8 or 2 times 4. So it is a composite number. Let's take a look at example 1. It says, determine whether 26 is prime or composite. Well, I know I can get 26 by multiplying 1 times 26 or 2 times 13. So 26 is a composite number. Example 2 asks whether 37 is prime or composite. The only way I can get 37 is if I multiply 1 times 37. So 37 is a prime number. Okay, now it asks you to try it yourself. I'm going to ask you to take a look at problems 1 through 9, and on your paper simply write P for prime or C for composite. After you've worked out these 9 problems and written down the answer, please restart the video and see if you are correct. Okay, let's take a look at number 1. 5 is prime. The only way to get 5 is 1 times 5. Number 2, 14, is composite. I can multiply 1 times 14 or 2 times 7. Number 3, number 17, is prime. 1 times 17 is the only way to get 17. Number 4, 23, is prime. Number 5, 28, is composite. Number 6, the number 33, is composite. Number 7, 43, is prime. Number 8, 57 is composite. 57 is a tricky number, but I can multiply 3 times 19, and the answer is 57. And number 9, 64 is composite.